and that was certainly worth waiting a minute or more. Thank you, Dr. Paulson. And calling to order the meeting of the School Board of Alachua County, November 15th, 2022. Please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, Ms. Wise, your oh, here it is. Okay, I thought it was eaten by the pile of papers, but before we adopt the agenda, there is one change, and that's in action item number 5. The title, the backup is exactly the same. The difference is instead of school improvement plans, it should be school advisory council memberships. And so that's a little bit of a change. So with that being said, do I have a motion to accept the agenda as changed? A motion by Ms. Russell, seconded by Dr. Paulson. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Well, it's been 8 years for me. It's been, I think, 12 years for Dr. Paulson on the board, and it's been a little over a year for Ms. Russell, and so I thought it would be appropriate and to have a little bit of time to for board members to say their fond farewells, and I'll do this in order of the amount of time served on the board, and so I'll turn the microphone over to Ms. Russell.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. It's been 15 months that I've served on the board, and it's been a very pleasurable experience for me. I have really enjoyed it, mainly because for me it's about the students, and it's about helping them receive the education that they need to receive in the Alachua County Public Schools. I've enjoyed meeting students, parents, teachers, principals, district staff, and working in the various capacities with these fine people. And I especially enjoyed going to events that honored students, you know, Student of the Year and other achievements, the Teacher of the Year, the principals, other programs and celebrations that we had to honor our students and our staff, our teachers especially. And I have enjoyed that so much, seeing, I guess, the fruit of our labor maybe indirectly. And so I am going to miss that. And graduations, you know, when we were scheduling the graduations we would attend, there are a lot of graduations, right? And so there's no way we could attend all of them. So as I thought about the graduations I wanted to attend, I thought, well, this will probably be a week of long speeches and whatever, you know, you think about a graduation. Every one of them was wonderful in its own way, similar and yet unique to every school, every principal, all of the students. And that was actually one of the highlights of my service on the board, much to my surprise. So I enjoyed that. And just seeing all of their achievements, working with Superintendent Andrew and other board members and the staff, the district staff, I know you're not all here, they're not all here, it's impossible to name everybody, but it has been a real pleasure to work with you, to have your aid and assistance in working for the good of our students. In my mind, the job or the role of a board member is to improve student outcomes. That should be our first and foremost goal. We have to deal with budgets and policy and all of those things, but when it comes right down to it, it should really be about the kids. And that's what it's been for me. It's been about the kids and about serving them. And my hope for the new board coming on, I wish them well, and my hope for them is that that will be their mission too. And like we were encouraged earlier in a school board meeting down in Tampa, the speaker, whom I think we all enjoyed and appreciated, his encouragement to us was, as a board member, you're doing your job if you spend a minimum of 50% of your meeting talking about how to improve student outcomes. And it's my hope that the new board will do that and really provide a world-class education that we've all been working toward in the core basics of education that will prepare our students for their future. I would like to thank my husband, Rusty, who has really supported me in my adventure here, and he's come to almost every meeting. He supported me. He's listened to me when I sounded things out, and just been a very encouraging team member for me, really. And also, I would like to thank my friends Chris and John, who've always supported me, always encouraged me, prayed for me, and I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you all being here tonight. And I would also, for those who cannot be here, which are many, as for all of us, those people who supported me throughout my term, who gave me words of encouragement, who did research for me, who asked me questions, made suggestions, those who campaigned for me. I really appreciate it. I want to say a big thank you to all of those people. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. It has meant a lot to have so much support and to have met so many new friends. So going forward, I will pray for the new board and the success of all of you who remain for the job that you do for our students and for the job that you do for our families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Russell. It certainly has been a pleasure working with you, and like you said, on behalf of kids. Well, I guess it's my turn, and I wanted to, first of all, thank the person who really puts up with me. I think some people here think they put up with me. Well, yeah, but not nearly as much as my wife, Lou. And so I'd like for Lou to step up. Thank you. And I also wanted to thank some friends that are here. I think we might have some family watching on the screen on the stream from out of town, but all the way from Palm Beach Gardens, I've got my dear friends Roberta Zevanoff and Karen Walsh, and also Gary and Mary Jane Nelson, Howard and Lynn Eckenrode, and I'm sure there are other folks, but I just wanted to particularly thank them for their support. It's been an interesting 8 years. It's been a chance to really meet and work with some great people. And one of the things, and I've said it before, but at the risk, not the risk, but at the certainty of being redundant, I'm going to say that one of the first things I learned as a board member was how good the staff in this building are, and how hard they work for the benefit of kids, and how hard they work especially for the benefit of the kids that need the most help. And this is something that I didn't bring. This was here before I got here. And hopefully I encouraged it, and hopefully I pushed that forward. But these are professionals that care about children and care about this district. Three of the items that were important to me 8 years ago when I was seeking this office was supporting and expanding the arts. That happened. Strengthening career and tech programs, expanding, that happened. And increasing the compensation. Our average teacher's salary used to be in the bottom 20% in Florida, now it's in the top 20%. And guess what? I don't deserve any more credit than anybody else. This is a team. It's a team that puts this effort together. It's superintendents, it's fellow board members. That's how it works. Any one person really doesn't get that done. So I really appreciate the kindness shown to me over the last 8 years. And I also wanted to say, I didn't know she'd be here tonight, but I want to say, and I've said this publicly also, Eileen Roy is here, former board member, and Eileen was my encouragement to run. She didn't ask me to run. I thought that's the kind of public servant that I'd like to emulate. And and not that she didn't get really upset with me sometimes, but that's okay. Friends do that. But again, I thank everybody, and I guess that's the end of my spiel. Thank you. Now, I'm gonna, before I turn the microphone over to Dr. Paulson, I've got to say a little bit about Dr. Paulson. And I won't go into too many details, because I think we'll hear some of those. But this is a man that's passionate about children and employees in this district. And I know when I was a teacher, we worked together. He helped in so many ways in straightening out a salary situation that was unfair. That was his effort. He didn't have to do that, but he's looking at how to help. He was looking at how to help employees. And this is, just who he is. And, when I was a freshman at UF in the band, he was a senior football player, and of course I didn't know him at all. I was in the band, but anyway, he's done so much for this district, and I am proud to call him a friend, and I think a few other people will have something to say about him. So, Dr. Paulson, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rob. I'm going to call you Rob instead of Mr. I had things I want to say, but I'm a little, I don't know, I didn't expect people going to be here. I might just go by and go down. Eileen, of course, I've been with Eileen. Went through a lot. She was a great school board member, unbelievable. Karen McCann took my job as president of the Alachua County Education Association and did an unbelievable job with it. The man right back of him, right back of Eileen, is one of the best football players I ever coached. This is stupid. I never cried in practice, did I? If my players saw me now, I wonder who I am. But he was a tremendous player. And of course, you all know him as a tremendous lawyer. I know him as a tremendous person, Bill Allen. And I just have to say that. He was one of the best kids I ever coached, and I coached a lot of good ones. Then I got right next to him one of my best friends, and he's helped me in so many things. And I have to put in Mike, probably the reason we got the lights in the football field at Buell's, for nothing. Mike Klein, he came in one day, I was teaching Algebra 2 in the summer, and he came in and he says, and he worked for Gainesville Health, still does, Gainesville Health and Fitness, says, we want to donate some weights and machines. So I said, told my class, I said, class is over. I want to go down there and make sure we got that equipment. And we've been friends ever since, good friends. Lady right here with the young man worked for me at ACEA, right? Plus she worked as an ESP in the school district and was on the committee that saved Head Start for 12 years. Nobody knows that. Head Start would have been gone 12 years earlier, except for a committee. Was it the Sandy Committee, Sandy Holmes or Sandy Calkins? But you were on that committee. That was a great thing. Who else did I miss? If I miss anybody, tell me. I'm going to get to him. He's special. You know, sports is a great thing for kids. It does a lot. Sometimes I lost my father when I was 8 years old. Luckily, I had a great brother, and I had my coaches. And when I played at the University of Florida, I played for the greatest man that ever coached college football, Ray Graves. He just a tremendous individual. He was, he'd take care of you. And I wasn't easy to take care of. I had my bad times. Not gonna lie about it, but I had to say that. And I got a gentleman back there, Isaac Jones, who I met. Isaac came out, we didn't have any African-American players. And he came out and was the first one there, which is unbelievable. It's not easy to do something like that. Ike, could you put your hand up? Raise your hand. And we've been friends for 50-something years, Ike? Well, what was it, 1968? Yeah, that's a long time ago. And we've been friends the whole time. And he served the school district, in a school district and as a counselor at Santa Fe College, right? That's Dr. Jones, by the way, I'm sorry. Okay. I told you what I thought of Ray Graves. And I was in graduate school getting my master's. Because I wasn't an All-American like Larry Smith and him. I was a fifth-year senior at Florida. I played on a great team, 9-1-1. And I was doing my master's, and I was out watching the high school all-star teams practice. I'd already met Coach Hurd at Westwood. Buell's was at Westwood. They had just closed Lincoln. And Eastside was at Harold Bishop. And I went to see the person I interned for, and there I met Coach Hurd. So I was up at practice one day, and Coach Hurd walks up. And we talked, and he offered me a job at Buell's. And Jesus, here I am. My wife and I married my wife, we were teenagers, so we were together a long time. And I said, yeah. So we took the job. And if anybody ever, I would call my father, it's Coach Hurd. He did more for me than anybody. And I love the man dearly. My mother was dying, and she had been married and went to Michigan. And we didn't have a credit card. The man loaned me his credit card so I could go to my mother's while she was dying. Can you imagine that? Most of you know him as a head coach at Lincoln. He's 83-9. Am I correct, Coach? And then at Buell's, our second senior class, we went 8-1-1. And then we were city champs the next year. I don't know if I'd be here today if it wasn't for him. If I'm embarrassing you, Coach, I'm sorry. So, but I love you. And I do think of you as my father. And then my baby girl's back there, my baby daughter, and she's been great to me. And where's my son-in-law, Jonathan? If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But and if I'm acting like a baby, I'm sorry too. So, the thing I thought I was going to say, and I said, the two best things I think we've done. I look back over, I wrote an article in 2003, and Dan Boyd, I hope you're watching, because I'm going to say something about you. And we said we wanted to get pass a mill. Thank you. And I was on the budget committee at FEA, and we got $10,000 from FEA to have a campaign. And I was president of ACA, so I had it in there. We paid $4,000, and I was president of the North Central Florida Labor Council too, and they gave $2,000. And we got that one mill passed. And it got us through the Great Recession. And later on tonight, you're going to find out that one mill's getting us past the pandemic, what's left us. So I need to say that. So, and it talked about salaries. We were 58th in the state back then. And now, the last 3 years, we were 21st, 20th, and 24th. So Mr. Hyatt's right. We need to keep at that. So I think that's two best things, I look back on, except for the Head Start, but that's you. And I never cried on the practice field, did I, Bill? Huh? You cry? No, it's, I don't know how much it means to see all of you. Coach, you're the man. I won't tell people some of our stories, though. I learned so much from him, it's unbelievable. I learned the value of a dollar. They loaned us $7,500, because in 1970, $7,500 was a lot. And to start our athletic program. Another school did too. They didn't pay it back, but Coach Hurd did, because you paid your bills if you coached for Coach Hurd. And I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't know if I was going to get through this. Thanks for it, and I appreciate this time.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. I'd like to recognize Superintendent Andrew.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. If I may, if you three board members would come down to the front here. I'd like to make a special presentation to each of you.
Well, he didn't get up.
So I just want to take a moment to make a special presentation, and I'll start with Board Member Russell, and then I'll move on to Chairman Hyatt, and then Dr. Paulson. And truly, we always like to honor greatness, so Coach Hurd, God bless you. Because I know there's a lot of people that could express the difference you made in their lives. Thousands and thousands of young students who are young men and women now. And so for all those, we just say thank you. Thank you from everybody here in Alachua County. And with that, I can't go through all the greats in here, but certainly we wanted to honor Coach Hurd. And hopefully we'll hear from Coach Hurd while he's here in our presence. I'd like to start off first by just taking this moment to present Mrs. Russell with a small token of Alachua County Public Schools appreciation. And we'd just like to thank you for serving as a school board member for 2021 and 2022. And we wish you the best as you go forward. And again, on behalf of everybody here this evening and across our school district and on behalf of the current board and staff here, we just want to say thank you for your service. So I really thought Chairman Hyatt would play a solo for us this evening. I was so looking forward to that. We might have a sax not too far away. Someone may deliver one. Who knows? We have a lot of, I'm sure, directors watching this evening. So, but I also would like to present Chairman Robert P. Hyatt with a plaque on behalf of Alachua County Public Schools. And this is certainly an appreciation for his dedication and service to the board, to our school board of Alachua County over the past 8 years. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank him for his decades of service, from the Keys all the way up here to good old Alachua County. He shared some stories with me back when he used to be the director down there and through his years up here. So we just want to thank you as a board member, as an educator, as a teacher, as a director. Thank you for your impact on so many of us as staff here and for your support. Just, we're grateful. So we just want to say thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to present Coach Dr. Paulson with the plaque as well on behalf of Alachua County Public Schools. And this plaque reads, "For your dedication and your service over 12 years as a board member." But as we all know too, we just want to thank you for your service over the decades as a teacher, a coach, a colleague, a confidant, you know, a president and a board member, and all those other things that perhaps I didn't say, but we do want to just thank you on behalf of all of our students, teachers, staff, community. We appreciate your service, and we wish you well as you go forward. God bless you, Coach. I didn't grab my mic for that, but hopefully that was loud enough. And can we get all three of you together as well before we go?
No, come on.
Not only just a flower. Flowers, we have a flower. You're the flower.
Could we take one picture with all of our board members up here before we move on to business with our current board?
What do you get?
No, this way, like, put on just a little bit, Dr. Paulson. I was going here. No, I wanted us to be center.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you very, very much. And I think a week from today, there'll be a whole another celebration. There'll be an exciting day for the new board. And I certainly, as Ms. Russell said, am rooting for the new board to be wildly successful. And I know they're going to hit the ground running. So, and that all starts, it's sort of already started, but it's going to start for sure 1 week from today. So we'll look forward to that.
Mr. Chair, I
yeah,
had my
yes.
light on.
Oh, I didn't see it, Dr.
I
McNeely.
knew you hadn't.
Please go ahead. And then Dr. Paulson.
Okay, thank you very much. To the three of you, my board member colleagues, I am very happy for you. I really am. You have served well in all conditions that we have been under. And I just wanted to say, take this opportunity to congratulate you. Your legacy and your stories will certainly not be forgotten. But now, I do this with all folk, not just you, board members, but you are now officially retired. And anybody in this audience can tell you that I'm going to ask that you return to this district, part-time or full-time. I'm serious about it. We all are about children, and so therefore, I want you to get a teeny bit of rest and then decide to come back and work with us. I want you to know that your service will certainly not be forgotten. Congratulations to each of us. And sometimes when you're doing absolutely nothing after getting off from work in one of our schools, you will come by this boardroom and sit in with us for a regular board meeting. Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. McNeely. The only problem with that is I'd be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for joining in this little bit of celebration. I really appreciate it. Next is I'm sorry, Dr. Paulson.
I should have said it, I forgot. I wish the people that replace us here on the board are successful, because we all want the success for Alachua County. I'm sorry I forgot that. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I had forgotten to say that as well, and so I had to sneak it in right before you, so thank you. One of these years, I'll learn to write things down.
I write too much.
But next is, do I have a motion for the approval of the regular school board meeting minutes for November 1st?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. McNeely, seconded by Ms. Surden. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next, the approval for the regular school board workshop minutes for November 2nd, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Surden, seconded by Ms. Russell. Any discussion? Dr. Paulson.
It was very generic about, I brought this up and now I'm back to business here. About the GRU. I want this explained, and I want it explained in detail. I've been working with the GRU problem in this district for 7 or 8 years. Now they're talking about the transfer. I've been working, I knew about that 7 or 8 years ago, but the point is, what we got charged in this district is, I'll give you an example. About 5 years ago, I looked, and they charged our school district 15.12 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, we're in the business, we're both public offices. The next highest was 10.9. You know, Alachua, they had their own electric company, but they got their electricity from GRU. Then you had Duke. Duke was 10.4, Clay was 10.3, and Florida Power was 9.5. Are you getting the picture here? Now, 75% of our electricity comes from GRU. And I met with, with the other superintendents, I met with them, because up until 2008, we got business discounts because we're going to be able to deregulate the electric business, and you go and bid it out. Then when they changed that in 2008, it was taken away. And I was just saying, I looked at it, if we got charged what Alachua got charged, or Alachua charged us, who did it with GRU's electricity 1 year, that would have been $1.8 million. You can see what I'm concerned. 1.8. And this went on 6, 7, 8 years. This probably up to $14 million. And all I want, I met with, I'm not going to name the business, but they had a business wanted to leave town. They gave them discounts, but not us, because we couldn't leave town. So the reason is, I've been saying this, I'm not asking it all at once, and I know now the electricity bills have gone up for everybody at home too, but still, I think we need to talk with them, be open with them, because something, we're educating your children. And we need that money. It goes for your kids. That's all I'm bringing it up with. They're a governmental agency, we're a governmental agency. 1 year, I'll give the county commission, they gave us some money one time out of their money. They got extra. But, it's, I just thought that was something that, I could leave here tonight on a nice note, but I guess it's not a nice note, but I don't like what happened. And I've given you exactly I had another year, I checked it, it's a couple of years ago, it would have saved us 1.4 million. You know, they didn't have to give us all of it. Give us $500,000, $1 million. It would have helped us to pay the bills for your children. That's why. And that's what I've been a teacher, a coach, and a school board member, and a union president because of the kids. Like I told you, I'm lucky enough that I had people that took care of me. You know, and I hope they taught me, so I want to take care of your kids too. And I know this board wants to take care of it. So if you yell at me on the way out the door, I don't mind. But I just thought it had to be said. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. Any further comment? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Before we move ahead, we are about 10 minutes behind for our public hearing. Ms. Attorney.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Andrew. We are here scheduled for a public hearing to receive input on the proposed new administrative job descriptions. There's 4 of them. The first is principal turnaround. The second is director, exceptional student education. The third is director, student support services. And the fourth is director, executive food nutrition services. Since our first reading on October 18th of 2022, there were a couple changes made. The item B, the Director of Exceptional Student Education, there were some changes made to the job responsibilities that are lined and highlighted in the documents provided. And under the Director Student Support Services, there were some changes in the job responsibilities, but also, as I stated at that first reading, there was an additional specific field for the master's degree that was added.
Do we have any public comment on these items? Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Attorney. Next, board member announcement comments. I can say that I don't have any more announcements, but some of my colleagues might. We'll start with Ms. Certain.
I don't have any announcements, but I would just like to bid you all farewell. It's been good working with you all during my first term, and we've had our challenges. Haven't always seen eye to eye, but one thing I can say that I do believe that we all have a deep love and appreciation, and all of us want to preserve what this great institution that we call public education. I think all of us, that is the one thing that I think that has rooted us and connected us and kept us looking forward, is that I can say that we all do support public education. And I give you my assurances that any decision that I make, as has been the ones in the past, will always be toward the eye of preserving public education, because I value it greatly in its state, and I hate so much the privatization that I see happening with it, and will do all that is within my personal power to object and stand against that. So you won't see your work as being in vain as we move forward in the years. So thank you for your service. I hope that each of you all have good health, and that you enjoy this next phase of your life and whatever that is in store for you and your family. Take care.
Thank you very much, Ms. Certain. Ms. Russell.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. For just a little while, I served on the Advocacy Committee, and they have a new platform for the 2023 legislative session, and I'm sure you'll be discussing it in the future. I just wanted to point out that it has, that we are asking or proposing to ask for funds to expand pre-kindergarten, which would, of course, mean other organizations that have preschools, but that it particularly dear to my heart is our pre-baby VK or V pre-K, whatever. Anyway, it will give us an opportunity because it will cover those extra hours because we already spend a full day of pre-kindergarten and our kids are ready then to enter kindergarten, it's a very good program and it's successful. So that will give us the opportunity to add more pre-kindergartens in our own public schools, which I will advocate for, and I will talk to our legislators about to encourage them to go ahead and give those funds to the schools so that we can do that for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Dr. Paulson?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Superintendent Andrew?
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. We do want to remind everybody that, and particularly our 8th graders, we're hosting a Career and Technical Education Showcase this Thursday evening at Eastside High School. That's Thursday, November 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. And so we encourage all of our 8th grade students in our middle schools across the school district and 8th graders, wherever they go to school, to come out and learn about our Career Academy Magnet programs. We'd also like to recognize the Newberry High School Marching Band. Some of you know they recently performed at the Bands of America Grand National Championships at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Of course, that's where the Colts play. And they're under the direction of James DeRimmer. We just want to congratulate them and give them a shout out and let them know we're proud of our NHS musicians. Also, tomorrow, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that National Education Support Professionals Day is Wednesday, November 16th. So tomorrow, join us as we celebrate and honor our paraprofessionals, our custodians, our bus drivers, our clerical staff, our facilities employees, our food and nutrition services colleagues, and all of the other ESPs that work throughout our school district at centers, sites, and everywhere else. We just want to say thank you, and on behalf of our schools and departments, we wouldn't be able to function without our ESPs. So we just want to again express our gratitude to our education support professionals and let them know we're grateful for all the things that the ESPs do every single day to support our students, our colleagues, and impact the lives of so many children. So just thank you, and if you see an ESP tomorrow, pause and give them thanks and celebrate their dedication to our school district. Thank you, Chairman Hyatt.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Andrew. Next is citizen input. We're setting aside 15 minutes for comments on items that are not on the agenda. We'll have time later in the meeting if there's still people that did not get a chance to speak. Right now, it looks like everyone who's turned in a form is going to have a chance to speak now. And we do ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. You should be able to see the clock in front of you when that happens. So our first speaker is Eileen Roy.
Hello, good evening, Eileen Roy. I am here on the occasion of the retirement of the 3 board members that you have heard from already. I think you can see that Gunnar Paulson, Rob Hyatt, and Mildred Russell are passionate devotees of our schools. As you know from what's happened already, Ms. Russell has served a year plus. Rob has served 8, and Gunnar 12 years. All of them show tremendous integrity and passionate determination to support public education. And they all had the determination to do the right thing, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Gunnar, in particular, deserves recognition because of his dedication to this district, despite the serious illness of his wife, Cindy, during the last entire last 4 years of his term on the board. Gunnar was her principal caregiver, rarely leaving her side until the end. Cindy died last year. I think few public servants could have endured such pressure as Gunnar did to carry out his duties. So thank you, Gunnar, Rob, and Mildred. I honor your services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karen McCann.
Good evening. I would like to start off by thanking Mildred, Rob, and Gunnar for their service, their dedication to the students, the employees, the community, the parents. You've always been there when I needed to talk. I have you on my cell phone, pick up the phone, we shared ideas, and I want to thank you for that. It really means a lot to me. Gunnar and I go back to 1980. We have a long family history of 2 football coach families. When he moved out of Yon Hall when he was a grad assistant, my husband Mark and I moved in to that same apartment for 2 years. And then he went to GHS and took over my ex-husband's team, and they won the title. So we go back a long time. Little did I know back in 1980 that I would follow in your footsteps as ACEA president. And I want to tell you, it was an amazing ride. A lot of people don't know that back in 2010, when Eileen was on the board and the mean girls were, you remember, gaveling her down, and it was an ugly situation. There was an ad in the paper. Gunnar decided to run for board so that he could help Eileen, and it was our goal with ACEA to have board members who had been teachers and had been in a classroom and understood what our employees, our ESPs, and our teachers understood, because we knew that if we had that on the board, it would be helpful for our employees and our students and everyone. And Rob followed Gunnar, and then Leonetta came on, and we at one time had 4 people on the board with teaching and educational leadership experience. So I'm not here anymore as union president, but I can tell you that what we were able to accomplish, we were the ideal for every other union local in Florida. I used to sit in meetings with them, and they would say, we look to you and follow what Alachua County does. We were the first local that gave teacher protection for job security in our contract. It's an amazing thing that, 12 years ago, we were at the bottom 20% of the pay scale, and now we're at the top 20%. It was wonderful to be able to sit through bargaining with no yelling and no screaming and get along, and we didn't always agree, but we were kind and polite to each other, and it was great. We were a team, as Rob said, and I want to thank you, Gunnar, for everything you did. Not only the kids that you taught and that you coached, but the teachers and the ESPs that you supported all of those years, and for helping me and being by my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Allen.
Thank you very much for this time. I'm Bill Allen. I'm a lawyer in town who had the great privilege of playing football for 2 years back in the late 70s at Buchholz High School for Coach Paulson. You know him as chairman or as board member. I know him as Coach Paulson and a great friend. First thing I want to do is say congrats, Coach Paulson. I don't know of anybody that could possibly have been a better advocate for public education than you for 50 years. So thank you. The rest of my remarks, I want to remark primarily to the rest of you about Gunnar. I played football for 16 years, 4 of which were at University of Florida scholarship football players. I played for a lot of coaches, including one, Mike Shanahan, who won 2 Super Bowls. Of those probably around 100 coaches that I played for, the one who made the most difference on my life was sitting right there, Coach Paulson. I could talk for, I've got 2 minutes, I could talk for hours, but there's 3 reasons why. Number one is a man of deep faith, always has been, helped me and others start the Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Buchholz, which I understand is still going strong. That's a great thing. The second thing is he and Cindy modeled an incredible marriage for us. He started dating Cindy when they were still in high school. And that means something to me because I've been with my wife, a childhood sweetheart of mine, almost 47 years, 37 married. And the two of them, Gunnar and Cindy, were polar opposites. Gunnar, intense as he can possibly be, more on that later, and Cindy, gregarious, smiling, happy as she could possibly be. But if you remember the Rocky movie, Rocky asked, about how did he and Adrian work? In the inimitable words of Rocky, he said, she got gaps, I got gaps, we fill each other's gaps. And they filled each other's gaps perfectly. The last thing I'd say is just Gunnar Paulson is the most intense person I have ever known in my life. And for you board members here that may have for 12 years wrangled a little bit with that intensity, you should have seen him in the 70s. He was something else. But the only success formula that I know has 2 parts. One is figure out what it is you want, and 2, go like hell after that. And Gunnar Paulson taught us that. He was an incredible coach. He pushed us more than we thought we could go, but that's what great coaches do. And for me, I know it impacted me. I never should have been a Division I football player. I wasn't that big, I wasn't that fast, I wasn't that strong, but Gunnar helped me believe that I could do it. And with his inspiration, danged if I didn't do it. And just, again, Coach, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Mike Klein?
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for your dedication and support of Alachua County. But really, I can't believe that I'm standing here tonight talking about and having to say nice things about Gunnar Paulson. Him and I are complete polar opposites. He's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. He's intense, and I'm calm. He likes classic music, and I love country. We met, as he explained, in a real comical way over going on 4 decades ago. Think about it. He's been in education and teaching for 50 years. Just think about 50 years. Go back, what were you doing 50 years ago? It's unbelievable. As Bill said, he's a man of intense and passion. I could tell some stories about the intensity. Pulling the team off the field in the panhandle because he thought the referees were cheating. They didn't know what to do. They said, you can't do that. He goes, well, I did. Well, they stopped cheating, he said. So they put the team back on the field.
We won.
And he won. He came back and won. So, but the one thing about it is his passion is for education, kids, and teachers. He always wanted to do the best for them. Him and I have not always agreed on things, and we have argued and fought during our 5 or 10 mile runs, but we solved a lot of problems. We used to say, and our good friend Tim Adams is looking down on us tonight, that we, in our famous 5 mile, 10 mile runs, we solved a lot of issues. Got a lot of things done for Alachua County. But at the end of the day, we remained good friends. A lot of you may not know, he's a Hall of Fame high school football coach. Hall of Fame in the state of Florida. After leaving Buchholz, he decided to get his doctor's degree. And to this day, I don't really ever call him Dr. Paulson. I call him Gunner. But tonight, I will say thank you, Dr. Paulson, and glad we have remained friends over all these years. And in a final throw out, I'd like to just throw out a remembrance that Friday night, Citizens Field, Buchholz, round regional semifinals, and Eastside also is still going in the regionals, so go out and support them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As Ms. Surton pointed out, also Hawthorne, the Hawthorne Hornets are still going. Do we have any phone calls? Well, okay, we have time for one phone call, and then we'll continue.
Caller, please state your name. You have 3 minutes with the board.
Hi, my name is Talissa, and I called last board meeting, and I called about my daughter's teacher and how she was treating my daughter at Idlewild Elementary. And Miss Folsom then proceeded to tell my daughter that she can give her zeros if she wanted to.
Excuse me,
if
we
she
can't
didn't
have personal attacks over the phone. We can't do that. Now, so we're going to move ahead. Superintendent Andrew.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. So we're moving ahead with the consent agenda. Coach Hurd, were you wanting to speak, sir?
Oh. He's a great speaker, too. You ever heard him speak? Kids love him, too.
Is this on? Can you hear me, everybody? Thank you for being here, and I want to congratulate the retirees for a job well done. And I want to especially thank the young man up there, Mr. Dr. Paulson, Coach Paulson. Real quickly, it was an honor and a pleasure to be with you and your family and watch all of you grow up. Dr. Paulson was helping me on the field at Buchholz at one time, and we was digging a ditch. And I was showing him how to use a shovel, being a city boy. Dr. Paulson threw the dirt all the way to Micanopy. I said, Coach, you got to pull it, you got to go get it while I throw it so far away. He looked at me and said, that makes sense. So these are some of the fun times, and I could tell you a lot of fun times we had growing and coaching at Buchholz and watching his family grow. It was an honor and a pleasure to be with you. And I have often heard you use the phrase of a father-like figure. I would like to hope that you a son-like figure. Thank you.
One thing I forgot. Coach, one thing I forgot to put, wish Tim was here. I know. I just had a, Tim Adams was another one, Coach, that Coach took care of us. And I forgot to say that, so I just.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Hurd. Thank you, Dr. Paulson. Superintendent Andrew.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. So at this time, we will move forward with the consent agenda. The superintendent recommends that the school board approve the consent agenda as described in items 2 through 15.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Paulson, seconded by Ms. Surton. Any discussion? Okay, I've got a couple of lights on here, Dr. Paulson and Ms. Russell.
Oh, just.
Any, okay. So Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Mr. Shelnut.
Good evening, Chair Hyatt, members of the board, Superintendent Andrew. Action item 1, employee case 2022-23, 0541-14. The superintendent recommends that the employee be terminated effective November 16, 2022.
Do I have a motion? Is there a second? Motion by Ms. Russell, seconded by Ms. Surton. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Chair Hyatt, employee case 2022-23, 9016-06. The superintendent recommends that the board suspend the employee with pay for a period not to exceed 90 calendar days, such suspension to continue thereafter without pay pending termination proceedings.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion by Ms. Surton, seconded by Ms. Russell. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Mr. Strappy.
Good evening. Chair Hyatt, board members, Superintendent, Mr. Andrew. I'm before you to discuss the business at hand of the charter, Santa Fe College Charter School contract. It was presented to you at one of our previous meetings, and now I'm here before you as the superintendent recommends that the board approve the Santa Fe charter contract.
Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion by Dr. Paulson, seconded by Ms. Russell. Any discussion?
I do.
Dr. Paulson.
One of the things about having 9th through 12th graders on a college campus I have reservations about that. I just want to say that, and I hope it works. But, for 9th and 10th graders, that's, different atmosphere than normally they're around.
If it puts you at ease, Dr. Paulson, one of my duties is to visit those sites. So I will be working diligently to making sure that they are looking at security and safety, localizing those students that are on that campus, especially as we bring food over there to them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. Ms. Surton.
Mr. Strappy, I did not go back and pull like a charter. I think Constellation has been one that's come. Is this the same contract pretty much that we've used in the past, or is this one that, is it new, one that Santa Fe brought to us? Is it one that the district has used in the past?
We utilize the same template, and after it's reviewed by the ARC, by the Application Review Committee, and those changes have been made to make sure it falls in the lines of previous contracts. We make sure that they are given an opportunity to make some changes. Attorney has reviewed those changes, and that's what we want to go ahead and move forward.
Thank you. And Dr. Paulson, I tell you, we're not the only county who's dealing with this. I was speaking with a colleague a few days ago on Monday, and Monroe County, the community college down there is doing the same thing, but not that they wanted to. It was almost like it was pushed on them.
I didn't say that.
So, yeah, so I think they're in a challenge, and then they've asked to kind of share some employees or something along that line. So they're a little bit concerned because they don't have as large of a student body as we do. So this is something to be concerned about. That's it for me. That's the only
Okay,
question.
thank you. Dr. Paulson, was that it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Ms. Nguyen. Is Ms. Nguyen here?
Actually, she's not here.
So, Superintendent, is someone else presenting, or do you want to take it?
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. Change order number 6, project SBAC A 1805, Idlewild Elementary School redesign and redevelopment. The superintendent recommends that the school board approve the additive change order number 6 in the amount of $81,064.47. This change order adds 27 consecutive calendar days to the contract time. This is the final change order for this project.
Do I have a motion for that?
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Surden, seconded by Dr. McNeely. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And Ms. Dell?
Good evening, Chairman Hyatt, board members, and Superintendent Andrew. I'm here this evening with the School Advisory Council membership list. On behalf of Mrs. Wakely, who was unable to be here, and myself, we're presenting the list for elementary and secondary. The superintendent recommends the board approve the 2022-2023 School Advisory Council membership lists.
Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. Surden, seconded by Ms. Russell. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Superintendent Andrew.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. Action item 6, superintendent's financial plan. Superintendent recommends that the board approve moving forward with the superintendent's financial plan as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion by Dr. Paulson, seconded by Ms. Russell. And we'll start discussion with Dr. Paulson.
All I'm going to say is, again, thank the Lord for the 1 mil. We're lucky. We're lucky we passed that. Just like He got us through the Great Recession, and will get us through this.
Ms. Surden.
Thank you. I concur. I'm glad that we have the mill, but I also think that we, as an organization, are going to have to look at that, I think, as well as our budget. And I've shared some of these concerns with Superintendent Andrew as well as Mr. Rella first, and Superintendent Andrew. So I do want to say this, in that the plan that we have before us is fixing or addressing the issue of that existed at the end of fiscal year 22. So we have not received, as a board, this current board hasn't, any actionable items to right-size our budget in the current year. I'm concerned that we're going to end up in the same place at the end of 23, June 23. So, you know, in a time of decline in enrollment, our expenses are increasing, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just an inflationary type time. Our health insurance, our Florida retirement system insurance, transportation costs, employee raises, the $15 minimum. So what else? I saw in one of the things our V-Pre-K is over, and I had asked, I don't have, I think early learning is critical to, for our students to come to kindergarten, or K-12, to be ready to go, and I don't dismiss that, but the FEFP and what we get is for K-12, V-Pre-K, and to have that expanded with the pre-K ESC is good, but it's not good if it's a pressure on our general fund. So that's a concern of mine. I had asked what's the cost of expanding that, and I never got that information. I've asked for that a couple times, and it seems that we have expanded that, and that's a burden on our general fund. We have the issue with Camp Crystal, and I've asked repeatedly about that. How financially solvent is that? And I haven't gotten that information. So we have some financial challenges that we're gonna have to deal with. And like my board members who are ending their service tonight, I believe in, and I've said this before wholeheartedly, that our educators and our support staff should be paid fairly, a fair wage. So my concern that I'm sharing now is for the financial stability of our organization, and we have to operate as an organization out of the funding that we get, which we don't set here. You all know that I'm not gonna be educating you all guys on that, but so I think we have to look at how our budget, it's said in the documents of some financial efficiencies that we have to have, operational efficiencies that we've got to get. And so that term is thrown out there a lot, but we have not made any choices on that. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm in support of what has come before us tonight. I was pushing for that. And, we had in 2019, 2020 school year ended abruptly in March due to COVID. The next school year, 2020, 2021, we came back, we opened school in a combination of high flex of some challenges there. I am most appreciative for the Board of County Commissioners in that we, as a district, received, if I'm recalling correctly, Mr. Rella, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we received about $6.8 million in CARES Act funding. Our staff came to us and with pleas and saying they needed additional training in the Board of County Commissioners. I called them and they were gracious enough to share because they had $42 million, we had $6 million, I think, and they shared a portion of that with us so that we could show up and buy, it helped our budget in that. And then we rolled into the 2021-2022 school year. We were hoping we'd come back with all the students would come back and we'd be at the spot where we budgeted for, but we were not. The decision was made then not to reduce the number of staff people. The schools kept their extra units during that year, and I'm not questioning that. It was a very challenging year. The 2020-2021 high flex year was very challenging on our staff, so I was not wanting to, I'm not against the decision that was made to have us overstaffed in the last school year, but we're here in the 2022-2023 school year. I've been told that we have the proper, our staffing is according to the staffing report that the board has voted upon that was brought to us from staff, but we still have a scenario where our general fund expenses are outpacing our general fund revenue, as I understand it. And we have the mill, and there's some adjustments that are being made to backfill our budget to get our financial condition ratio to prop that up. But we cannot continue along that line because pretty soon there won't be anything to backfill with the federal dollars that are flowing into our system in the form of SO1 and 2 and ARP will be sunsetting in another year. So we have to be cognizant of that. And I'm saying all this so that it is kind of on the record. And I see one of our future board members is in the audience here, the waiting. And these are all some challenges that we'll have to entertain with staff and the superintendent. So my request to Superintendent Andrew is moving forward with a quickness in the new board is that we're going to have to, with the new board, information is going to have to be brought to us so that we can ensure that as this fiscal year comes to a close and as budget prep for the 23-24 school year and fiscal year that we are moving and making decisions that are going to have us in a really good place for the future. Because we, as I told you, preserving this institution we call public education statewide and nationwide is key, but preserving our district and keeping it under control of our elected board members and our superintendents is of most importance to me because I already know that the folks in Tallahassee would like nothing more than to take over another district, but I do not want to go the way of our district, our fellow district up in the Panhandle, and I am trying. It is not Gadsden County, and it's not Franklin, but it's Jackson County, Jefferson, yes. So I don't dare want to go that way. They've gotten their district back this school year, but I don't dare want to go that way, and so I want to make sure that we're not on that path. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Paulson.
We had you go back to when the started. There were people who wanted to close our schools down. I'm not going to mention names. And our previous superintendent, the previous, she developed a plan with the Digital Academy and e-school and brick and mortar, and we got full FTE. Because Tampa, Hillsborough County tried to goes down, they realized they would go bankrupt. So things like that happen. Now, one thing is, and I'm going to mention this, you know how I feel about the strategic plan. I'm going to use it as an example. We have a strategic plan. A strategic plan is just, all you can change it completely. And I won't say somebody wanted to spend $250,000 to do another strategic plan. That's not says what you should be doing. That's what you were saying we don't need. You remember the $250,000? And I argued, back when my wife was sick and I couldn't be at the one meeting. And, I said, why are we spending this money? And that's what I hear you saying now. We have to be able to handle our money correctly. And I say, something, one thing I've seen with Mr. Andrews is I think he's headed us in the right direction. And I know Mr. Rilla does a great job. I've dealt with a lot of financial people in our district. But those are examples that we got to not do that. How can we spend $250,000? And I'm on record of saying that is ridiculous. When we already have something. So why are we going to redo it? Why were we letting people use Duval Elementary? And it took me 2 or 3 meetings to get that out. That gets $1 million or so. It was about over. Then we at least got it in. Mr. Andrews came in. I told him about it. He got it in there, and we met with it. Remember? And you corrected it, I think, Mr. I'm just saying, thank you for doing that. But we can't do stuff like that. And to think all of a sudden, I wish you guys the best, but I couldn't let that go unsaid. We weren't headed in the right direction financially, and it wasn't Mr. Andrews and it wasn't Mrs. Clark. And I'm not going to say anything else. And if people want me to give you examples, I got a page. So I have confidence in what we've got right now, and I think we're leaving this in good hands. And I'm glad to hear you say that, what you're saying now, because it's right. Heck, I served on a budget task force since 1991, and I know a little bit about school finance. So, but I feel good. I feel good about those comments you just made. But I wanted to point out what was happening, because I pointed it out, and I'm on video many, many times pointing it out. So, and I think, like Mr. Hyatt said, we have good people in this district, don't we, Mr. Hyatt?
I've been saying that for a while, yes, sir.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate that, and I think we're leaving it in good hands. I really do. Thank you very much for the employees, and thank you for that statement. I just want to go back and make sure there's not any misunderstanding. I don't say things without written documentation.
Ms. Surden.
Thank you. I want to clear up something. Dr. Paulson, the tenants that were at Duval, every tenant that was at Duval was paying rent. Every single one of the 3 organizations were paying. They had a lease, they did a rental agreement. It was changed to a lease agreement, but every single organization that was there was not there free of charge. They were paying rent, every single one of them, before Mr. Andrew. He didn't have to fix that. Well, so I'm not sure if our attorney has something separate down there, but okay. but every single one of them was paying rent because they were using utilities, they were there. But I will tell you that one of my colleagues on the Children's Trust Board thought that, like your argument that you used, like with GRU, he says, these are our children, and they're all our children in the county, and the school district has space that it's not using, and it would seem, I just can't believe that you would bill someone for using the space, and the trust have to pay that. And so my argument to him was, sir, the district has to pay its utility bills and the janitorial and things of that nature. So there is a cost. I don't think it should be market rate rent, but I do think we have to at least cover the cost of the utilities and the janitorial. That was my sale to him, to my colleague at the Children's Trust. But just, I do want to clear that up, that there was not a tenant that was there of the 3 organizations that was there free of charge. They were in a lease agreement, a rental agreement. They jumped through a lot of hoops to get to that point. And
After we called them out.
no, sir. I really want to clear that. I don't want to let that stand, an untrue stand. ACES in Motion, the Duval Community Organization, and Kids Count all had rental agreements. Now, Ms. Turney, as well as Chief Rella, can both confirm that. Now, it may not have been called a lease agreement, but they all had signed documents where they were paying $38,000. I tell you, I know what ACES in Motion was paying because I'm their treasurer.
I know you were.
But I'm telling you, it was not free, and I had no input into that. They signed an agreement. I didn't call anyone. But back to this, we all want to make sure that our district is in good financial hands. But I could not let that stand because that's not how that's transpired. So
Okay, well, I'm going
Thank you.
to thank you, Ms. Erden. If Dr. Paulson would like to make another comment, but I will say that I think we've had a pretty clear statement from Dr. Paulson, a pretty clear statement from Ms. Erden, and I think going back and forth forever does not serve us. And so, Dr. Paulson, if you want to wrap it up,
Yeah, I'm not,
let's wrap it up.
all we,
Microphone, please.
when I asked the then superintendent if we had anybody in the building, it took about 15 minutes to get an answer, and then I was told we had one. One. So then she said, I said, do you have a contract? Oh, we have an MOU. What? MOU? And this is all on the video. I mean, that's not me, my word against anybody else. And then, bring me the information next time. Next time, we spent about a half hour trying to get it out. Guess what? It wasn't one, it was 4. 4. Why couldn't, that was easy to tell the board. But it's on video. It's not my word. It's on video. Look at the October meetings in 2021. It's not me what I'm saying. It's what's said on video.
Thank you, Dr. Paulson. Thank you, Ms. Certain. Any further comments? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We're back for citizen input. I don't have any forms turned in, no phone calls, so we're going to board member superintendent request.
Mr. Hyatt, if I could, I've already made my request previously, and Mr. Andrew and Ms. Green, did you get the request that I made about the info? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Certain. Dr. McNeely.
Chairman Hyatt, I've already spoken to the superintendent prior to this meeting starting, and we have further discussion, but it's a request, and I'd wait until the superintendent wants to share that with the board.
Okay, Superintendent Andrew.
Yes, I'd like to just end with gratitude and wish everyone, as we head into the Thanksgiving holidays, next week. A happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody takes some time to spend a great amount of time with their loved ones or doing whatever it is that brings them peace and joy. And definitely would wish a happy Thanksgiving to all of our staff and colleagues out there. Pause for a moment, enjoy the small things in life and spending time with your loved ones and those you care about. So just happy Thanksgiving to all, and we hope that some of our public comes out and joins us next week. Be reminded on November 22nd at 10 a.m. we'll be swearing in our new board members here in the school board building. That's next Tuesday during the Thanksgiving week. We will be open for business here at the district offices on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So thank you, sir.
Okay, good luck to our returning board members, Mr. Dr. McNeely. Good luck to our new board members. And this meeting stands adjourned.